Hello and welcome to Nailing Art with Lisa. Today's art project is a polymer clay sculpture featuring fan art by me of DOCM77 from Hermitcraft. I discovered Hermitcraft while watching the Empire and Hermitcraft crossover. Wasn't sure about the new characters at first, but wow. I quickly fell in love with them and started watching Hermitcraft. There were lots more hermits, yay, and honestly it took a few episodes before I discovered Doc. The reason that I have decided to sculpt Doc while watching their escalating prank war after Good Times with Scar and Grian blew up Doc's tunnel bore machine, and well, the retribution pranks began back and forth, and it's quite painful to wait each week until the new episodes from their Minecraft Hermitcraft SMP to see who is going to do what to who. They are very creative in their prank wars. Doc and Rin the dog versus Grian, Scar, and Mumbo as more poor hermits got pulled into the chaos. Doc has human and goat-like and redstone qualities that make him a fun sculpt. For these sculptures, you need sculpting tools, wire, aluminum foil, wooden bases, super sculpey polymer clay, and JD UV resin for the eyes. And also I use various folk art matte paints and color shift paints. There's so many parts to a sculpt. It takes many days to complete one. Doc in particular took, I believe, 4 days to sculpt and paint. Through the whole process, you do like one section at a time, usually, as you know, like you have to do great detail on everything if you want a good sculpt in the end. You start with your armature wire, you get it bent and reinforced. You can use the aluminum foil to bulk out your sculpt so that you don't have to use so much clay. The clay can be quite expensive, and also it's really hard to bake it if it's too thick. Your baking increments are in quarter inch increments, so that can lead to some challenges if you don't try to use a good firm skelly bones, as it is, to do your sculpt on. You can also use like a lightweight Sculpey product that they sell to help with that if you don't want to use aluminum foil. I also use the Sculpey, it used to be called Bacon Bond, but it's a clay glue to help adhese the clay to the aluminum foil and wire. There's a lot of details in Doc. He has like one arm that's like redstone, one eye, and on his pants I will incorporate a lot of little, it's meant to look like redstone lines running in Minecraft. If you've ever watched it, you can use redstone to make machines and do all sorts of things like that. Doc is a master of redstone mechanics. It's amazing at his builds. He's built like the tunnel bore that they blew up, actually blew out the mountain and it's basically a diamond machine because he blows up everything but the diamonds, and he's able to get those. Then Grian and Scar were exploring his base while Grian was trying to avoid building the back of his base. So then Grian punched the button and Scar didn't, I guess, got so excited he punched it again, but it blew up and broke Doc's machine. So they left a pile of I'm sorry gifts in order to apologize. But soon, retribution pranks started, and I would encourage you to go over to the Hermitcraft videos. There are so many hermits on there. There's loads, and there's anything that you would want to ever imagine or could imagine being built there, and how they do things. And there's so many different hermits. There's somebody for everybody. I actually really like every one of them just as much as I like all of the Empire's cast and their creativity. It's a lot of enjoyment watching them and seeing what all they get into. While sculpting Doc, occasionally in the video you're going to notice that later on I've changed something, and that just happens. Sometimes when you're sculpting, you'll have something in mind, you'll have a rough drawing. I don't really do a detailed thumbnail or a sketch before I do a sculpt. Most of it is just simply in my mind, but once you get it into 3D while you're sculpting it, occasionally you're like, I don't really care for that. So you'll go back and rework something or redo something. It may seem to you that the proportions are off a little bit and you want to change them, or while you're doing it, you'll get an even better idea than you had. And it seems very tedious, but I find it's loads of fun. It's very relaxing for me. I can sit there and put on, like a show or a movie or something, and just sit there and just enjoy the process and watching something that was a lump of clay turn into a really nice sculpture. Once you get your sculpture done in the polymer clay, you can either sculpt everything at once and bake it, or you can do the torso and the legs and bake it, and then use more of the baking clay to keep going with that. This one in particular I did all in one go, and when I baked it, it was doing really well, and I got a little distracted, and well, Doc got a little bit of crispy done during the process. I got distracted doing laundry. So the good news is it doesn't ruin it, but honestly, the burnt edges of Doc looks like he was a victim of Grian and Scar's prank that just kind of like blew up and singed him. So it's kind of funny. But anyway, so it's perfectly fine. You can retrieve everything, redo it. So what you do is when you do a base coat of paint on the sculpture, gray is a really excellent base coat. You just want to get all of that covered. It'll fill in any tiny pits and cracks from the sculpting process so that you can have a good solid place to start on your colors. These I have made a baby ender dragon for Doc to hold, because Doc, as far as I know, is the only person who has ever brought a dragon out from the end into the game. He has an actual ender dragon circling the base on the top of his flag tower. It's pretty amazing. And I thought it would be really cute to have him holding an ender dragon. I've also sculpted some tiny little brains. In Doc's world, he consults with what's called the hive mind on how to do some of the builds. There's some very smart people. I believe there's even physicists on this hive mind situation. So I decided to make a real live quote unquote hive mind. Hive made me think of a beehive, so I will incorporate that shape, and of course into something that he can hold kind of like access to. I will trim all the wires and stuff in red paint to represent the lines of redstone and redstone mechanics. People think of Minecraft as just a kid's game, but it is so much more. It can be a kid's game, but it is also very much a high intelligence level game when you learn all this. So I have a little trick of when I'm doing eyes or something that I want to look like a gemstone or glowing and all of that, I will use UV resin. I paint the depression where the eye or whatever would be, like Doc's cyborg eye and his regular eye, and you use UV resin. You drop it in and you have to hold a UV light over it to cure it to harden. It's just like a crystal or something. So I've cut out stuff that kind of looks like nuts from Nuts and Bolts, and I will use UV resin to adhere the little brains in there. And then it took like 2 hours to fill these in solid so it looks like little brains floating in some kind of material. The butterfly wings I'm very, very proud of. I used packaging tape. I drew a butterfly wing, and with a toothpick and multiple colors of resin that I've pigmented, I drew the wings on and cured them. Like I said, you have to do a little bit and hold the UV light over it. So it really did take quite a while. I chose this set of butterfly wings as the one in his game, are a little bit pink. So I did a sort of a mock real butterfly wing onto this. I think they turned out really cute. And during one of his streams, it was just a thing that became, and then it became lore that he has butterfly wings. So I was making those to go on to him as well. In his avatar on the game, he has like a shredded lab coat, I guess, for, you know, like a wild scientist or something. So I did make a little clay lab coat and kind of shred it to make it look like it's been torn and everything. I use Gorilla Glue that comes in these little tiny little tubes, which is really nice for quantity wise, so it doesn't dry up or something. But this is clear glue, and it's kind of like an E6000, but I found that it works really, really well. So I use that to build my hive mind for Doc. And also I used it to attach the wires on the wings so I could put them on Doc's back. I had pre-poked some holes in before I baked Doc so that the channels would be there to receive the wings when it's done. Like I said, you're talking, like I said, I believe, I can't even tell you how many hours. I was actually my vacation week, and we did a quick trip, and I decided that I was going to do something fun for me, so I decided to sculpt Doc. I'm very happy. I used some purple color shift on the dragon, made him kind of glow a little bit, gave him the purple eyes. Everything about this one does really well. Hair is, I find, very difficult, but I think in this it did really well. And his little goatee for the goat and his little goat horns, I think they turned out very well. I can't tell you, there's something so satisfying when you're doing a sculpt and you get to the finished part. And I did way too many pictures probably of him when I got done, but I did a turn here showing the wings, and they're still flapping a little bit, but I did glue them in, and I painted the golden wire so you couldn't see them. I didn't think I wanted that to be visible. I wanted it just to look like it was part of his back. So I did a few different lighting areas. I did just on my desk, then I used a light box with different lights to try to take multiple different pictures, different shots and angles. The hive mind is removable. You can set it down or put it on his hand that he's holding it. The dragon is permanently attached to his hand, so that doesn't come off. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see what kind of crazy things we can come up with in the future. There may be more sculpts of hermits, maybe some more of the Empire people. I've already done Jimmy as the sheriff from their season 2 where the crossover was. There's so many fun characters on these Minecraft SMPs to sculpt. I even did one of Technoblade. That was a memorial piece, and that took a week. It was a very long sculpt, but I enjoy these, and I hope you enjoy them. This is just my creation, my art. Every artist has a little bit of an odd mind, and it comes out. Whether you're drawing, painting, sculpting, you could paint, pencil, watercolor, or clay, metalwork, whatever there is. Enjoy it and have fun. Thank you for joining me, and have a great day.